Welcome to today's webinar, Minnesota Alumni Travel with Orbridge. My name is Audra Farrell with the University of Minnesota Alumni Association, where I'm the director of the travel program and also international alumni relations. I've been in my role since 2015. The Alumni Association has partnered with Orbridge for quite a number of years to offer great travel experiences to alumni and friends. During our time today, we will give a brief overview of the Minnesota Alumni Travel Program and our relationship with Orbridge. Then Vanessa, our guest from Orbridge, will address the topic of returning to travel, as well as giving an overview of the upcoming tours that we have planned together for 2021 and 2022. Before we get started with the presentation, I would like to thank our Alumni Association members and donors for making initiatives like the Alumni Webinar Series possible. If you're interested in learning more about the Alumni Association and membership, visit us at umnalumni.org/membership. And the Minnesota Alumni Market is an online store that sells products made by alumni-owned businesses. Not only is it a great way to support both alumni entrepreneurs and the Alumni Association, but they sell great quality products as well. We're adding new alumni makers and new products monthly. So check it out at mnalumnimarket.com. And next, I'm going to go over a little bit of information about using our webinar today. Oops, I think we skipped a slide here. Let's go back one. There we go. So we also would like to mention that we have upcoming travel series events that you can join. We'll be back on June 3rd with AESU, which is our Young Alumni Tour Operator. And also back again on June 9th with Premier World Discovery. And then finally, we'll round out our series on June 16th with sports and entertainment travel. Oh, slides are going a little crazy. So I just wanted to go over some information about how to use Zoom. So if you are listening by phone, you can dial 646-558-8658 and then enter the webinar ID, which is 997-0161-8082. And then during our time together, we do encourage you to ask questions. You can use the Q&A button to submit your questions, and we'll do our best to address all of those before our time is up today. Okay, so the Minnesota Alumni Travel Program offers more than 40 destinations annually and gives you the opportunity to explore amazing locations all around the world with alumni and friends. We have our 2021 and 2022 tours all fully listed now on our website. You can find those at umnalumni.org/travel. And you can contact me anytime with travel program questions at umtravel@umn.edu. Now, for those not familiar with the Alumni Travel Program, I'm going to give a few stats and a little bit of information. So in a typical non-COVID year, we have about 500 alumni and friends joining us on tours, both domestically and internationally. Our destinations include every continent and all different modes of travel, including small group land tours, river cruises, small and mid-sized ocean cruises, and even some train journeys, which we'll talk a little bit about today. And we work with 8 different tour providers who specialize in alumni group travel to offer curated, educational, and engaging experiences where the details are expertly taken care of for you. The average number of Minnesota alumni and friends on each of our trips is 10, with some tours exclusive to our travelers, while other tours offer you the opportunity to travel with alumni from other university groups as well. And besides the fabulous destinations and thoughtfully arranged itineraries, one of the great benefits of traveling with us is meeting like-minded people and making new friends. Time and time again, our travelers have shared with me how after going on a trip that has sparked a new friendship for them or friendships with those with similar interests and backgrounds. And it's not uncommon for alumni to meet others that they continue to travel with on future adventures or they socialize with once they return back home. And each time you travel with us, you are supporting the Alumni Association. So thank you for considering taking an adventure with us. Okay. So as I mentioned, we've been working with Orbridge for quite a few years, and we have received very strong positive feedback from all of our travelers who have participated in these tours. And the Alumni Association partners with Orbridge to offer some very unique programs, like our trip to Antarctica, great bucket list destination, small ship Alaska cruise, train journeys in Canada, parks programs, and more. But I won't get too far into this. I'm going to let Vanessa introduce all the tours shortly. I'm sure you're all waiting to hear about that. Okay. Next, we are going to, before I introduce Vanessa, we're going to do a few quick poll questions. So get ready to participate. So the first question is, have you traveled with Minnesota Alumni Travel before? You can choose no, not yet, yes, once, or yes, more than once. I'll give everyone a moment to respond. Give it a couple more seconds. Okay. So our majority is no, not yet, 60%, and then equally split between yes, once, 20%, and yes, more than once, also 20%. Thank you for completing the poll. Now we'll move on to our next poll question, which is, have you traveled with Orbridge before? You can select no, not yet, yes, once, or yes, more than once. Okay, I'll close that out. All right, so we have 79% coming in at no, not yet, and 21% yes, once. And then no one had answered yes, more than once. Okay, we have one last question. And that is, I am planning to travel in 2021, 2022, 2023, or I'm not sure, no travel plans just yet. Okay, we'll close that out and share the results. So it looks like the majority of this group is planning 2022 travels at 40%. And then we have 33% who are not sure, no plans currently. And then 27% are planning for 2021. Thank you all so much for completing our poll. All right. Well, now I would like to introduce Vanessa, who is the Senior Director of Sales at Orbridge. And during her past 9 years with Orbridge, she's had the pleasure of traveling with thousands of Orbridge guests to over 20 destinations. her favorite destination being East Africa. Vanessa and her two daughters call Pennsylvania home, where they love to hike and bike ride. So thank you so much, Vanessa, for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Audra, and your team. I'm really excited to be here talking about what we all love, travel, and when we're going to get back to it. So thanks for inviting me, and I will get started right away. We have lots of trips to talk about, and sorry, let me just share my screen with you all so you can see what I'm seeing. Great. We've been partnering with the University of Minnesota for nearly a decade to take gophers to destinations all around the globe. Orbridge, as Audra mentioned, is based outside of Seattle on Bainbridge Island, and we're a small business of approximately 30 employees, all of whom, I can say this, from accounting to guest services to marketing, they're all as passionate about travel as I am. We work exclusively in the alumni affinity market in educational travel with other colleges and universities like the University of Minnesota and other continuing educational groups. Our programs are specifically curated for this audience, and we try to offer experiences and destinations that you can't simply access via Expedia or other online services and in easy ways. Our most important guiding principle at Orbridge is that our programs are beloved by our guests. To us, that simply means that we focus on destinations and life-changing experiences that guests are not soon to forget. We do this by utilizing customized accommodations like family-owned villas, iconic lodges, as in the case of the parks programs, as well as by chartering small ships. And we specifically curate these excursions exclusive to your group. We do this in order to provide a depth of understanding of a particular destination, people group, or history. And we make it our priority to offer a deluxe experience at a value price. If you choose to join Orbridge in Minnesota on an adventure soon, some of the services that you'll enjoy include a dedicated guest service team that specializes in your program of choice. So they've seen what you're going to see, they've walked alongside your tour directors, and they will speak specifically to what you'll experience. They are truly experts in that destination. You'll also enjoy a curated expedition library that includes maps, perhaps field guides, maybe a coffee table book or a relevant novel about the destination. You'll receive that about 6 weeks ahead of time, again, with the intention of enhancing the educational content of the program for our guests. Another important point in our philosophy is our travel directors and expedition leaders that lead each program. They get very high praise from our guests, and many people actually choose to go on additional Orbridge trips in order to travel with these tour directors again. We work a little differently than others in our industry, and rather than contract with the tour director for just one trip or a few trips, they're actually on staff with Orbridge. And so we believe that they're very well acquainted with our expectations, and they're also the most knowledgeable tour directors that we could possibly find in the destination. An example of this on our national parks programs, which I'll talk about today, we use retired parks rangers who have spent their entire career in the park. And so they have a real intimate knowledge of the parks that they can share with you on the ground. Well, it's on all of our minds. Audra asked the question, when are you planning on traveling? So I just wanted to share a little about what travel looks like now with Orbridge. We are currently operating programs, in particular to the national parks all over the country in the United States, as well as to the Galapagos Islands. And throughout the summer, we'll be adding additional destinations like Alaska and in the fall, hopefully, Europe and Egypt. We do this with social distancing in place while adhering to full CDC protocol and guidelines. So some of the ways that this looks on the ground, you can see in those photos, this is on an actual tour, a National Parks of the Old West tour. We ask our guests to wear masks or face coverings, as do our guides. We use outdoor lecture space when possible. We've requested that all hotel rooms be empty for about 24 hours prior to our arrival, and that the cleaning staff implement enhanced protocol. We also at Orbridge are asking that our guests either provide proof of a vaccine, both doses, or if it's appropriate, or a negative test result within 72 hours of arriving to the program. So it's up to you, but we feel like this way, at least so far on all of our departures, we've been able to keep our guests safe. Some advantages to traveling this way during this time include minimal crowds at usually crowded sites and attractions, smaller group sizes on the actual programs, and private experiences with just our group where it may have been a larger group at one point in time. We also understand this is an ever-changing landscape. And so we've implemented a risk-free reservation policy where we will refund any deposit up to 90 days prior to departure. For any reason, you can call and cancel prior to that 90 days and you'll receive your full deposit back, no questions asked. We're doing that because we know that folks really do want to travel, but things may change for them in the coming year. So you can rest assured that with us, you'll be able to get that deposit back prior to 90 days before departure. I'm hopeful that this may play. This is from one of our recent Southwest Parks departures. Well, looks like, I'm sorry about that the technology is not agreeing with me, but what you would see is that the group is very socially distant. They're walking through the park. They have some face coverings on. A large group of what would normally be 30 or 40 people is reduced down to about 10 or 15. So those are just some on the ground changes to expect. I'm glad to take any questions now about COVID protocol or about anything that I've shared so far. If you have any, Audra can let me know if anything pops up. I'll also leave time at the end for questions as well. So
feel free to use the Q&A button to ask any questions. I don't see any right now, Vanessa.
Terrific. So I'll just keep on going.
Yeah, and if questions come up, you can enter them anytime in the Q&A. I'll keep looking for them.
Terrific. Thanks, Audra. So we have 2 trips with Minnesota remaining in 2021. We have a Discover Southeast Alaska program and a Scotland program. And then we have 5 programs, 80% of which are in North America in 2022. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of all of these. And then again, we'll allow time for specific questions about program content, itinerary, whatever you want to throw at me at the end of the session. Our Discover Southeast Alaska program is quite a hit with our guests. It's our #1 best-selling program for good reason. So on this program, you'll get to experience an unprecedented view of Alaska through a small expedition cruise. You navigate into narrow channels that only small ships can access. And in doing so, it provides you encounters with wildlife that really are unmatched. We arrive into Juneau and we depart from Sitka, Alaska on this adventure. We have port stops along the way in places like Glacier Bay National Park and Petersburg, which is a charming Norwegian village. Every day on this journey, as you can see, we're sailing in these tiny inlets. Every day you'll have the opportunity to explore Alaska off of the ship through hiking or in kayaks, on skiff rides, walking on glaciers. Lots of time to be off the ship as well. Our naturalists on this program are experts in animal behavior, glacier activity, and a variety of other natural spectacles along these protected waters. As I mentioned, you'll spend a full day cruising Glacier Bay National Park alongside a Huna Totem cultural interpreter who offers you some insight on the Tlingit culture that's native to Alaska. as well as a glacier-based park ranger who will provide insight on the sanctuary's fjords and glaciers. This program has abundant cultural elements as well. So lots of natural history, but also a lot of culture, including a native dance performance at a Tlingit clan house. And we'll also visit a salmon hatchery where bear viewing is absolutely unprecedented. Whenever I was there, I saw 8 bear fishing for their babies. And that's one of the photos from one of our recent programs. I also wanted to share this clip from the captain of the Chichikov Dream, the ship that we used. His name is Gavin, and he's an exceptional asset, as is all of the crew, to our Alaska journey. So we'll just take about 2 minutes and hear from Gavin directly. And I think you'll understand why guests love him so much and love traveling with him to Alaska. Sorry, just 1 second. There we go. Apologies for that.
So hanging around the docks, and some friends needed somebody to cook on their boat. So I jumped on their boat as a qualified chef, started cooking, found that they had more fun on deck, and decided to work my way up that side. And now, 15 years later, I'm the captain of this beautiful boat. So I live in Seattle. I became American 6 years ago and live with my wife in Seattle, who works at the local hospital. And we enjoy the weather, even though it is a bit grey and rainy at times. My most favorite thing about this boat is how it's big, open, and comfortable for as many guests as you like. It's unlike most of the other boats I've worked on. There's just a lot more space and a lot more luxurious. The difference between the big cruise ships and something like this size is we're a lot more intimate. Everybody gets to know the crew get to know everybody, and it becomes like a big family experience where you go out there and enjoy. We also get to go to a lot of places that are smaller and more intimate, into little harbors and deep fjords where the big cruise ships can't reach. So it's just a much more relaxed and enjoyable experience. When we see wildlife, we stop and enjoy it. We don't just steam straight on. We make the most of our time and what nature has to offer. The most rewarding part of my job, I think, is just getting to know people and making sure that they get off happy. Just the enjoyment I get out of other people's enjoyment is tenfold for me. One of the most memorable things I get out here, the unexpected wildlife that we just come upon. Also the Northern Lights. Later in the season, those Northern Lights just, they blow my mind. I love watching those. I could stay up all night long. So after a long season, one of the final things I do is inspect the boat, make a list of everything that's wrong so we can make it better for next year, debrief with my managers, and that'll be the first drink I have within 6 months. So the bar's looking pretty good by then.
So you can see he's such an asset, and we really love Captain Gavin. Sorry. Okay.
That thing.
Just stop that.
They did it!
Okay. Oh goodness. So sorry. Yikes. Sorry. You can see that my daughters have access to YouTube. Sorry about that. Moving right along.
That's okay. We just thought we'd throw a little comedy into our webinar here.
Here we go. So this is the outstanding ship that Captain Gavin leads the crew on, and it's a 76 passenger vessel. All cabins are above the waterline and are very comfortable. They have expansive viewing decks at the front and the aft of the ship, as well as panoramic windows that allow you to view wildlife regardless of whether you're outside the ship, on deck, or in your cabins. You know, on this program, again, I mentioned it's value priced and it's virtually inclusive of everything, with crew gratuities and your bar bill being the 2 exceptions. If you'd like to extend your journey, you can continue, or you can start your journey a little earlier and visit Denali National Park on a pre-tour. It's a 6-day, 5-night pre-tour, and it takes you further north into Alaska's rugged forests. So some of the highlights on this program are travel aboard the Distinguished Alaska Railroad with upgraded Gold Star service in a beautiful domed viewing car. That seems to be a highlight for the guests. Moving right along. Scotland is the other destination that we have on the books for 2021, and this program is in August. So from the bustling cities of Glasgow and Edinburgh to the windswept islands of Skye and Arran, as well as the Highlands themselves, this program really covers the bulk of the country. And that was our intention in creating it, give guests a taste of everything. You'll get to enjoy the pure magic that is Scotland by cruising the infamous Loch Ness to Inverness. You'll sample some spirits that are refined over centuries at some distillery tours and private tastings. And you'll take in the iconic music that really tells a lovely tale of Scotland. One of the most important things to mention is a highlight on your particular tour, Audra, and that is the Edinburgh Military Tattoo Festival. You can see it in the bottom right corner. Really special and impressive event, and it will occur again on your departure. So we've arranged for special tickets and seating for our guests in order to enjoy this iconic event. We have several privately led tours of famous castles. You know, there are lots and lots of castles, maybe more per square foot than anywhere else in the universe, but certainly one of the most beloved by guests is the Ileane Doran Castle, which is on a small tidal island situated at the confluence of the three sea locks, and that's in the Western Highlands of Scotland. So that's always a huge highlight for guests and important to mention. We have a short Dublin pre-tour if you'd like to extend your journey. It's 2 days, and it really allows you to catch all of Dublin's highlights. We also have St. Andrews. I'm sure you recognized it straight away. St. Andrews post tour, guests do stay at the Old Course Hotel, and we do work with guests to arrange for a round of golf if you're interested. So before I jump into Antarctica, we're going to do a trivia question. So get your chat box ready. You can answer in your chat box, and Audra is going to watch for the answers. I can't see them, but she has them. And I'm going to ask a question about Alaska. What is the average age of an orca whale? And if you think that male and female differ, you can write both, or you can just write, if you think that they're similar, write what you think the average age of the orca whale is. And the winner will receive an expedition library that I described earlier, an expedition library for Alaska, and that includes a beautiful coffee table book and some field guides about the nature you'd see there, a novel, and we'll send that out to you this week. Any answers, Audra? We'll give you a few more seconds.
Yeah, we'll give a few more seconds. I see two answers. Neither is exactly correct.
One is exactly correct.
No, neither is exactly correct.
Okay.
We'll give it a couple more seconds. More people are typing their answers I see coming in. We don't get exact correct answers, then we'll go with the closest. So
perfect.
oh, this is tough to figure out. I'm going to have to do math here. Some people made designations for male versus female, and some people made designations for both, or just said for both the same age. Okay, I'm going to have to take a screenshot and
Okay,
There's
Audra,
some
you can
quick
tell us who
math.
the winner is. You can tell us who the winner is at the end, but I'll give
Okay.
the answer now. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
And
So
whoever is closest will get the expedition library. So the answer is the male orca whale's average lifespan is 36 years, and the female orca whale's average lifespan is 63 years, almost double. So thanks so much for having some fun with us. And moving right along, we'll start our journeys for 2022 with this bucket list trip to Antarctica. It is a life-changing adventure to experience the boundless and pristine vastness of Antarctica. You'll embark this journey from, sorry, I'm going to go like that. You'll embark this journey from Ushuaia, Argentina, and cruise through the Drake's Passage to South Shetland Islands amid the Antarctic Peninsula. On this journey, you trek through penguin rookeries. You'll observe flocks of seabirds and learn about Antarctic ice conditions, which of course are changing. You'll discover both past and present scientific expeditions. And you will have, leading this whole time, a knowledgeable and friendly crew of about 13 naturalists. Longer daylight hours in Antarctica will offer extended opportunities for wildlife viewing and zodiac and kayaking excursions, as you can see in that top right corner. And the cold environment of the water is ideal for whales, seals, and a plethora of penguin colonies. Just about every type of penguin is nesting nearby. They are plentiful. Your vessel for this amazing journey is the modern 190 passenger Ocean Victory. Now this ship is outstanding, and it's really the way to cruise to Antarctica. It's designed specifically for polar cruising with an X-bow design that reduces rocking by about 80%. It is ideal for crossing the Drake's Passage. This ship has large cabins, and 80% of which have balconies, so you can still enjoy Antarctica from the comfort of your stateroom if you choose. The exceptional amenities on board include a gym, 2 hot tubs, a beautiful infinity pool, and a spa. There are also 2 restaurants on board that serve international cuisine. And if you want to extend your adventure at all, we have an optional Buenos Aires pre-tour. And we also have an Iguazu Falls post-tour. And fun fact, Iguazu is actually 4 times the size of Niagara. That picture does not do it justice, but if you can imagine, it is massive. Moving right along. The Southwest National Parks, and this trip has always been a huge hit. We've welcomed many Minnesota travelers on our national parks adventures over the past decade. This is one of my favorites because it blends unique natural and cultural history in the area. It covers the three states, all of the parks within the 3 states of Arizona, Utah, and Nevada. We'll begin in Scottsdale, where you'll get acquainted with your fellow travelers at a welcome reception. And then we'll continue on the following day to explore Grand Canyon National Park, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. You will stay in an iconic lodge right at the rim of the canyon, so you have those views all day and night. We continue north into Utah through Navajo Nation to your next site, which is Monument Valley. You stay, whenever you're in Monument Valley, in Golding's Lodge, which is famous for its role in dozens of old Western movies. Also, a visit to Navajo Nation would not be complete without an authentic Navajo cookout and storytelling presentation that focuses on Navajo legends, songs, and history. From Navajo Nation, we head west to Lake Powell for 2 lovely evenings at the Lakeside Resort. And this is always a guest favorite You'll have the opportunity to take a cruise on the lake and enjoy a picnic style lunch right there. Some of the other highlights include a visit to Antelope Canyon. And we recommend having your camera ready because you'll visit the top middle photo is a sample of some of the other worldly rock formations that you'll see. We also visit Bryce Canyon National Park, and the bottom right photo depicts some of the rocks that resemble the castle tower and cathedral spires, as well as the very unique hoodoo rock formations. They're definitely not something that I forget anytime soon. And we'll also take a sail down the Colorado River. So you can see in the bottom left corner, we sail through Glen Canyon and on a really lovely, relaxed rafting trip. We also visit Zion National Park, and included in that, we visit the Emerald Pools, we take a stroll along the Riverside Walk, and we visit the Zion Human History Museum. We conclude our trip in Las Vegas. And if you like train travel, you're in luck, as we've added a pre-tour for 2022 aboard the famous Rocky Mountaineer, which is coming to the southwest of the United States. So this is a really exciting option for those who want to experience a terrific way to travel by train. So really quick before I start on that, we have one more trivia question. Get ready. And this question is related to our national parks. How many national parks are in the United States and US territories? Not park sites, actual national parks as designated as such. Take a wild guess. Would include both the US and US territories. And hopefully this answer will be easier for Audra to calculate. And these guests will also get an expedition library. Sent
I
to
already
next
have
week
a correct answer.
We have a correct answer.
Yeah.
Terrific, terrific.
Yes, Chuck Stupka guessed the exact, or knew the exact answer, I should say, 63.
Terrific.
Congratulations.
Brad, Chuck, we'll get that out to you next week.
Yes, Chuck, if you want to send me a private chat with your address, I'll share that with Vanessa and she'll send you your prize, your library. And then I can also announce that I averaged the ages of the male and female whales because no one had the male or female just right. And so the average age between them was 49 and a half years. So Melissa Paulson is the winner. She said 50 for both. So she was very close to the average. So that one made the most sense as the correct answer. So Melissa, if you can send me in a private chat your address as well, I'll share that with Vanessa and she'll send you your library as well.
Terrific. Thanks so much for playing along, everyone. Moving right along, speaking of the Rocky Mountaineer, it originated in Canada, and this is, the iconic train that travels through the Rockies. And this is a great opportunity for you to experience luxury train travel. Upon arrival into Vancouver, you'll have a panoramic city tour of all of Vancouver's must-see sites. You'll overnight at the Fairmont property right in the city, and then you'll board the Rocky Mountaineer's all-domed fleet the following morning. You'll be traveling through otherwise inaccessible terrain of British Columbia, Alberta, and the Rockies. You will travel over Fraser Canyon. You'll travel through the spiral tunnels, we're asked that frequently, and along the Continental Divide. You experience gold leaf service on board the Mountaineer. That's the highest level of service, and it includes a bi-level coach car with full-length panoramic windows, exclusive access to a private outdoor viewing platform that allows you, the views of the terrific scenery and wildlife sightings, unlimited beverage and gourmet meals that are all cooked on board and feature locally sourced ingredients as well. In addition to your time on the train, we will be stopping to enjoy the beauty of the Rockies in other ways as well, including a gondola ride up Sulphur Mountain in Banff National Park. Or perhaps you may choose to visit the thermal waters nearby in Banff Hot Springs. Lots of things to do off the train as well. At night, you disembark and you spend 3 nights in the Rockies at the Rimrock Resort, which is a stunning property and has exceptional views and a Michelin-starred restaurant on site. And if you'd like to extend your journey, you can start a little earlier in Victoria on a 3-day, 2-night journey. And you'll enjoy the city in various ways, including the lovely Victorian gardens that are always a highlight for our guests. Moving right along.
And Vanessa, before you move on, we did have a question.
Sure.
So last year's Canadian Rockies tour was postponed.
Yes.
And this person is wondering, is this tour closed? Is this year's tour closed to new reservations?
2021 still has availability in August. Yes, we do still have availability in August, and we are currently optimistic about that operating. Of course, we all know that the border to Canada isn't currently open, but we are expecting another update on May 21st. And based on all of our correspondence and communication with the Canadian government so far, it sounds very positive that the border will be opening for summer travel in July. So we're very optimistic and hopeful there. Of course, we don't have the green light yet, but we will certainly keep our guests informed. And yes, we do have availability. Actually, on all of these programs, we have availability for all of that right now.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for that question. So we travel north to Canada on this program. And, this is really a remote tundra that is filled with the boreal forest, beautiful wilderness, and it's only accessible by plane or boat. So really a special way to see Canada. For a very short 6-week period in late August and September, northern Manitoba is considered to be one of the best places in the world to view the Aurora Borealis. And so that's when we plan to head there. I'm going to go fairly quickly because I've talked too long and I'm running out of time. Your days on this program are filled with wildlife spotting and outdoor activities like hiking, fly fishing, actually some of the best fly fishing in the world. So if this is, if you have any fisher men and women, this is definitely the trip for them. It's outstanding. Kayaking, canoeing, and our evenings feature delicious dinner as well as opportunities to view the northern lights. In addition to the items noted here for our inclusions, there's also internal air from Winnipeg to Gangler Lodge. As I mentioned, it's only accessible by private plane. So we have a chartered plane that we fly guests in on, and that's included in the cost. And there's also a resident biologist that actually provides terrific insight into the local wildlife and natural resources of this area. And he spends the 6 days with the guests there. This is Gangler, and it's a supremely outfitted lodge that is so comfortable. The rooms and the common areas are lovely, and it's the perfect home base for our time in Manitoba. It actually spans over 7,200 square miles and features 12 river systems and 100 lakes. So, it's really kind of an untouched piece of wilderness there. You can continue your journey on a Winnipeg Post tour, including the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, which is always a highlight, and the Manitoba Museum. Moving right along, we have the civil rights in the fall of 2022 and the Alabama cities of Montgomery, Birmingham, and Selma birthed the national leadership of the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s. So we'll be learning from actual foot soldiers whose compelling stories really bring life to this program. We've partnered with a local nonprofit, the Alabama Civil Rights Tourism Association, and they work in close coordination with local community organizations and locally owned businesses to ensure that the revenue from this program is returned to the community. We'll begin and end our journey in Birmingham, and we'll retrace the footsteps of central figures in the movement like Dr. King, Rosa Parks, and Reverend Shuttlesworth. We'll meet with their family members and learn personal details and firsthand accounts from activists on the ground. Our speakers are reason alone to join this program, and they are some exceptional women. They don't just come in for one lecture, they actually spend all day with us throughout this journey, lots of time and intimate time with our guests to share their experience in their fight for racial equality. And that is all of our 2021 and 2022 programming. I did want to mention anyone who is attending or watching this program, even on the recording, if you mention it, whenever you make your reservation, remember it's a risk-free reservation. If you mention this webinar, you'll get $125 off per person. And if you make your reservation online, you can use that web address in the bottom in red. That will give you lots more information about every program that I've just talked about. There will be photos, itinerary details, information about accommodations. If you make the reservation online, just make note of the travel preview. Use some reference to it, say webinar travel preview in your reservation form so that we can ensure we deduct that savings. And I'm glad to take any and all questions now.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you.
It's great to hear about all those destinations in some detail. I'm excited to travel.
I am too.
If there are any questions, you can use the Q&A button or the chat. And then I'm going to switch back here. And just mention that we do encourage all travelers to consider purchasing travel insurance to protect their investment in their trip and also make sure that they have health coverage they need while they're away from home. And our Alumni Association travel insurance provider, USI, has been a partner of ours since 2001, and they've been in business since the 1970s. So if you're planning a trip, whether it's with the Alumni Association or on your own, I encourage you to reach out to USI for a quote. And they are linked on our website here. So you can go to www.travelinsure.com/UMN, or you can call them at the number that you see on the slide. And then if there are any questions, you can still use the chat here. You can also email to me. I see a couple of questions coming. Where was the picture taken by the wooden barrels?
Oh,
you know which picture
yes.
that is, Vanessa?
I do. I think they mean that shot of me next to the wooden barrels. I think.
Oh, yeah.
If that's what you're referencing. And that actually is our Flavors of Chianti program. We offer flavors programs, which are immersive small group programs that feature wine, cuisine, history, culture of various parts of Italy, Northern Italy, Chianti, Sicily, and in Spain, the Catalonia region. So you can find more about that on our website and lots of details about various itineraries that we offer for our flavors programs. It's a terrific trip.
Okay. And then we have, do you expect a trip to Churchill to see the polar bears? And that's one that we've offered in the past.
That's right. We do. We have 2 trips actually to Churchill, and one is in the fall. It's late October, early November, which really is all about the bear. It's a 6-day program, and we stay at a beautiful lodge called the Lazy Bear Lodge. We're out on expedition vehicles to observe the bear in their natural habitat. And as you obviously know, because you're asking, the bear come to the ice. They're preparing to hunt at that time. So the bear life is plentiful in Churchill. And whenever I was there most recently, I saw 32 bear. I saw a mama nursing her cubs. I mean, really, it was incredible. So that's a fall option. And then we also actually have a summer option, and it's called Polar Bears and Beluga Whales. And that is there's about a 4-week period of time between July and August where the beluga whale come to the mouth of the Churchill River to have their babies because the water is warmest there. So they fill the mouth of the Churchill River. It's really a spectacle. And the bear at that point are a little further outside of Churchill at a place called Hubbard Point. So we sailed to see the bear at Hubbard Point, but we also have the benefit of experiencing that phenomena of the beluga whale filling the mouth of the Churchill River and having their baby. So that's another option in the summer of 2021 and 2022.
Thank you.
You got it.
Okay, well, I don't see any further questions coming in right now. So if anyone has further questions that they think of later, they're welcome to email me at umtravel@umn.edu. Also, all the tours and the details, itineraries, pricing, all of that is listed on our website, umnalumni.org/travel. And then I'll also send out a recording of today's webinar to everyone who registered. So if you want to rewatch it or share it with anybody, you are welcome to do that. And then I'll send out a survey as well to all of our participants. So we appreciate your feedback. All right. Well, if there are no further questions, we will close it out and say thank you so much to Vanessa for joining us and for sharing all this helpful information.
Thanks so much again. And I hope to welcome more Minnesota travelers on adventures with us soon.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.